My name is Boston Murphy, and I kill werewolves for the U.S. government. And I didn't join the army to get medals or to have a statue in my honor. I joined it simply to get away from my family. My father is okay, but his new wife's the most evil person you could have the misfortune of meeting. She used to constantly berate me, calling me less than dirt and a waste of space. I tried telling Dad, but he didn't believe it, or chose not to believe it. I joined the army when I was 17. It was the only way of getting away from the verbal abuse. Stepmom couldn't be happier that I was finally out of her house, but Dad was crushed. He understood why I chose to do it, but he still felt like it was his fault. It was shipping out day, and he gave me an emotional send-off. It was time to start my own life. I arrived at Fort Bronson by Thursday. I still remember having goosebumps arriving. This was it. I was really doing this. No turning back now. Fort Bronson was a massive base, expanding over 60 acres. The bus stopped, and drill instructor Haymarer walked on board, gracing us with hospitality.
Attention, you piss cans. I'm Instructor Haymarer. I'll be your friend for the next 18 weeks. Now get your sorry asses off my bus and get checked in. Do I make myself clear?
Sir, yes, sir! We all shouted in unison. We got our bags and got off the bus. Since I was sitting in the very back, I was the last one to leave. Haymarer looked at me and stopped.
What's your name, cadet?
But Boston Murphy, sir, I replied nervously. He looked me up and down, muttering to himself.
You're not going with them. You're going to this special assignment ward.
I haven't been here for more than 10 minutes, and I'm already getting a special assignment. Where is that, sir? I asked.
In the room next to the mess hall in the north building. Now get off my bus.
I quickly got my bags and left. The sun was beating down that day, and I was sweating hard. Yet I walked back at a brisk pace. For all I knew, it could be the first test. I entered the building. The air conditioning inside greeted me like an old friend. The place was a maze of stairs and hallways. I had to use my map. The mess hall was located on the second hallway. I climbed the stairs, carrying my luggage with me. The building seemed less maintained than the other buildings, but who am I to judge? As I approached the mess hall, I turned to the door to the left. It looked like a janitor's closet. It had faded special assignments sticker on the door. I opened it. A rush of old, musty air assaulted my nose. Once inside, I walked down a long hallway. There was no paint on the walls. It was gray. The fluorescent lights shined brightly. Through a pair of double doors, I entered a waiting room. The place was empty. Only a receptionist and another cadet populated the place. I went to the receptionist.
Name, please,
she said. Boston Murphy, I replied. She checked her notes, sighing.
I don't see you in my notes. You must be new.
Yeah, Instructor Haymarer sent me here, I said, sweating. She dialed a number on her phone, motioning me to take a seat. I did what she asked. The other cadet in the room was a man named James.
You new here too, huh?
Yeah, man.
Me too. I was so ready to go kick some ass, but I'm here instead. You feel me?
Yeah, I lied. The truth was, I didn't join to kill. I was hoping to be a medic or something.
My name's James. What's yours?
Boston.
You seem pretty cool, Boston. I personally hope this is a mistake. I want to hit the range and make those bastards pay for terrorism. Cadet James Fillmore. Guess that's my cue. See you, brother.
James said the latter, patting me on my back. And I waited to be called in, watching videos on my phone. The receptionist on the phone looked at me every so often, whispering. After what seemed like centuries, and I was finally called up. The receptionist told me to go through the double doors and into the first door on the right. I walked through, luggage in hand. The hallway I walked in was small and dark. The door on the right said,
Lycanthropy Extermination with Greg Romero.
Lycanthropy? Like in werewolves? This had to be a joke. Surely Haymarer played a prank on me, testing how gullible new recruits are. I looked further down the hall. It only got weirder from there.
Wendigo Extermination with Susan Fletcher. Thunderbird Extermination with Otto Haymayer. Zombie Extermination with Tony Stevenson.
I had half a mind to walk out and confront Haymarer, but something told me that he didn't appreciate being called a liar. Despite my doubts, I walked in. And inside it looked like a regular classroom. James was sitting in the back while I sat near the front.
Hey, Boston. Small world, am I right?
I suppose. I sat down and a man started speaking.
Welcome, cadets. I'm Greg Romero, and for the next 18 weeks, I'll teach you how to dispatch a Lycanroc. Aren't werewolves fake, though? I wish they were fake, but no, they're not. Lycanrocs pose a serious threat to livestock and humanity as a whole.
I raised my hand. Where's the rest of the class? I asked.
We're not as popular as Wendigo Extermination, but hopefully we'll receive more recruits next year.
Romero showed a picture of a mutilated woman being eaten by a werewolf.
We have a thankless job, gentlemen. Only 2 people know we exist, and that's the 2 of you. Who wants to kill a wolf?
Romero asked, and we both shouted in unison. For the next 18 weeks, I was taught how to kill a wolf. Silver does kill one, but instead of a crossbow, I got a Mini 14 with silver bullets. I was trained how to track wolves and how to survive in the wild. It was hard at first, but I got the hang of it. On graduation day, I was so happy. James and I got drunk at his place. At first, I didn't like James, but during training, we became friends. I was deployed to Arizona, of all places. The assignment was simple. An elderly Lycanroc was spotted in the area, and I had to dispatch him. I had to cut off its right hand as proof and return it to my bosses. I was getting paid $100,000 for this. Since I was new, this assignment was sort of a test to see if I have what it takes. I arrived at Ground Zero, the campsite. The brass in Washington were nice enough to close it to the surrounding public, so nobody could get hurt. I looked for clues, only to find a patch of hair. It smelled like piss, meaning that a wolf was nearby. The hair led me deep into the desert. The sun was scorching that day. It cooked my skin under all the armor that I wore. It led me to an abandoned farmhouse, but any sign of a farm was dried up a long time ago. I crept to a window, rifle in hand. I peeked, and not only did I see the wolf, but there were also 2 little wolves seemingly surrounding him.
Come on, Grandpa, let's go play.
One of the little wolves said, nibbling on the big one's ear.
In a while, kids. I have to rest.
My hands were shaking. Sweat dripped from my brow. I had to do this. I was getting paid to. I took a deep breath, and then I kicked the door down. I opened fire, shooting the big one in the chest 4 times, sending him reeling backwards. The kids looked on in horror, screaming and crying. I brought out my axe and I hacked off his right hand. I placed it in my bag, with the puppies still crying. "Shut your mouths," I yelled, pointing my rifle at them. They only screamed louder, though. I panicked. I didn't want to fail my first mission, so I did what I had to do. I shot the puppies, hitting them both in the head. I hacked off their right hands, putting them in my bag. Once the adrenaline died, I threw up. What's done is done, and I can't fix it. I had $300,000 in my bag, softening the blow. I returned to my boss and gave them the hands. They were surprised, to say the least.
Damn, not only did you take out that guy, but you popped his grandkids too? You're the best exterminator we've ever had. No mercy. I'm gonna call you Eisenhower from now on, okay?
My boss said, signing me a check. It was from the United States Treasury for $300,000. I placed the money in my bank account when I got home. Before I left, my boss said,
Your new assignment is to dispatch wolf pups spotted in Alaska. But I don't think that'll be a problem for you, Eisenhower.
He winked at me. It made me sick. I reloaded my silver ammo, bought some beef jerky, and flew to Alaska. A logger found a wolf pup hanging out around the woods near his house and locked it in his shed. I told him to stay back in case it got aggressive. I went in, closing the door behind me. Huddled in the corner, I saw 4 wolf pups. They looked scared. I wasn't proud of what happened next. I took home a couple of trophies that day. 4 right hands. I returned to my boss and turned them in. $400,000 this time.
Eisenhower, you're making the country safer every time you go out. You're a hero, son.
I don't feel like a hero, sir.
Just know this. They're monsters. They don't know right from wrong. All they know is killing. Take 2 months off, then come back, okay?
That was the last thing he said before sending me off, but I still don't feel like a hero.